I love your background, sir. It reminds
Oh, okay.
it
Thank you.
reminds me of
Yeah.
of the olden days when University of Pretoria used to torture us.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, thank you so much, sir, for taking this interview. It is like I feel like I feel very honored to like for you to have accepted my invite.
Yes.
And honestly speaking, the first time when we interacted, I was actually just taking chances, saying that okay, I wish he responds, and then you did
Yeah.
respond, and then
Yeah.
that to me it's like yeah, like it's everything to me. So it also shows the level of humility that you have, which is quite a wonderful thing in my opinion, especially if you are in a leadership
Yeah.
position. To avail yourself to each and every person from any walk of life, so to say.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
as I mentioned, sir, in the part, like in my email, and also when we spoke, I'm a techie as well. I'm a
Yeah.
tax alumni, so I went to University of Pretoria as well. I did my
Okay. Yeah.
with the university, but that was before you joined.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
So what did you do? What?
I was doing BIS information systems. Uh,
Yeah. Okay. I think you said in the email.
yes. I did. Yeah, I did information systems. Yeah, I'm well aware of like of the institution and how wonderful it is. And I was really blown away and very happy. I think it was about a month or 2 months ago when I read one of I forgot where I read it. One of the sources saying that University of Pretoria is now ranked number one university in the continent.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was something else. I was like, yo, okay, yeah. I'm like, where are
Mm.
all my other friends from other institutions, like, so I can show them this.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Thank you so much once more again, like for taking this interview. So just to start things off a little bit, how has the like it has been a year now, I would assume already. How's
About just over 18 months. About yeah.
yeah, yeah, but not yet 2 years. Yes. How
Yeah.
like
No.
how has
It's
it been so
been.
far?
Pardon?
How has it been so far?
No, very good. I think we've done a lot of things since I came here. It's a very welcoming institution. I've been welcomed by everybody from the University Council to the students, staff, and our partners and collaborators. But
Yes.
also, it is a period where we've been very busy and are still busy. So, if you were here at the time you were here, there are certain things you wouldn't recognize that are new.
True.
So we've opened another campus called the Future Africa Institute and Campus. It's the same size as, if not bigger than KIPS. So
Wow.
it is a conference center that takes 300 people, a research commons. It is a race, if you like, an accommodation for 300 people and a big dining room where you can have
Yes.
300 to 400 yes, for a meal. So this institute is dedicated to using knowledge to address the complex problems that face Africa, all of Africa, and also is meant to find solutions so that Africa becomes a prosperous, democratic, equal, economically developed, sustainable continent like others. So that's new. We launched it in March last year.
Wow.
In February, we finished engineering 4.0. You know, there was engineering 1, 2, and 3. There's
Yes.
now engineering
Wow.
4.0. It's
Wow.
point zero deliberately because it's dedicated to things that are associated with the fourth industrial revolution. How do
Okay.
you use the new technologies and applications to create smart mobility and smart cities
Yes.
and related economic development? It's also a place where we test road materials, roads, and all of those things, all things transport. This is phase one. We finished it in February. It's ready for launch. The pandemic interfered, but we finished it on time and under budget. It's a huge building.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
massive. Yeah. So then we also launched the Javet UP Art Center, which is has 9 galleries. So now there is a bridge across Linwood Road to the other campus.
Oh yes, yeah,
So
I
when you were
remember.
here, yeah,
Mhm.
when you were here, perhaps you had to cross the road. Now
Yes.
you just go over a bridge. But that bridge is also a gallery. So we launched the
Wow.
largest museum that is a art gallery that is art center based in a university, in any university on the continent, I think.
So it's
9
bigger than
galleries.
how I used to know our art gallery, the one that we used to know, like how I used to know it.
Yeah, yes, no. This is like 9 galleries, 10 times that size. So
Sure.
it's huge.
Sure.
So those are some of the things that you wouldn't quite recognize. These things cost perhaps nearly R1 billion to build,
Mm.
and we're still going on. So it's been a very busy and very exciting time. I've also
Yes.
traveled abroad, met our alumni. I had an alumni event here in Pretoria at the
Yes.
campus, one in Joburg, one in Cape Town, one in Durban, one in New Zealand, 3 or 4 in Australia, one in the US, one in the UK. And
Wow.
so this year we were going to go to the rest of our continent. Then the
Wow.
pandemic
Wow.
just
Wow.
got
Wow.
to go to Kenya.
Well, thank you so much for
So
for that
yeah,
background. Like, yeah. So I feel proud because of I know I'm the product of that institution. So so though most of those things were done way after I've left, but
yeah,
nonetheless, nonetheless,
yeah,
I come, I was cooked in the ports of UP, so to say,
mm,
which for
yeah.
me like it's quite
Uh,
a
So
proud moment.
yeah, so quite busy, quite vibrant. We also for the third year last year were the Varsity Cup champions, and so we're
Yes,
doing well on the
I remember
sporting
that one. I
field.
remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and engineering in a recent ranking, the top ranking in the US students in the world. UP engineering was ranked #1 on the continent and in South Africa and
Yeah.
277 in the world.
That's so
So
beautiful.
yeah,
That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. So it means, yeah, it means yourself, the staff, and everybody involved. Like there is something good. Like there is something right. There's something that we're getting right. That's what I'm trying to
yeah,
say. There's definitely something we're getting right. So yeah.
yeah,
So as I mentioned, say that our topic actually is it's more of the role that academia can play in in
mm,
shaping our economic and political discourse. So,
mm,
because there are so many things happening in a political space, many things happening in
yeah,
an economical space, and then we want
yeah,
to know because of I am a software engineer today because of academics. Obviously, I went to University of Pretoria to study to become a system analyst, and I ended up becoming a system engineer, so to say.
yeah,
But at the end of the day, it is that I am contributing to the economy, to the real economy. I'm paying taxes because of I'm working as a normal citizen, and then that was a result of academia. So what I'm trying to get to here, it is that on a global scale, uh, what role do you believe you yourself and maybe other colleagues that you have from other institutions have to play in shaping our political discourse and in our economic discourse?
yeah. So I mean, you remember that your university trains quite a lot of people. You're in the engineering and information systems area. We
Yes.
also train students who become public servants, support
Mm.
the implementation of political decisions and policy
Ah.
making.
Mm.
So we are a source of and then also in many disciplines. Some of our students in economics go on into public economic institutions, including the National Treasury,
Yes, sir.
and we, for example, and I think when we come to your next question, I'll talk about the
Yes.
fact that we have a chair in monetary policy studies held by a professor at UP, which often sometimes runs workshops with the South African Reserve Bank. But by staying with politics, we also notice that quite a lot of some of our professors also comment on political affairs. So Dr. Stembile Mbete, for example,
Yes.
is a resident political analyst at Kaya FM. So every day she goes in there to analyze political events of the day. When there are
Mm.
national elections, she's with the Kaya team at the results center, commenting on political campaigns, the meaning of results, and all of that. I'm
Mm.
only mentioning one person. And many other of our colleagues, for example, also will advise particular, formally and informally, will advise political structures, including government, ministries, and politicians. So our politics department is also strong on international relations. Stembile Mbete, if I stay with him, Professor Maxis Kuman, also advise at the DECO level, Department of International Relations and and cooperation. So if you like, that this is the spectrum in which we advise. So we advise on policy matters, formally and informally. We comment on politics and interpret politics. Our students graduate from us and join entities that I would say broadly political, from government departments to political parties. And some of our
Yes,
students are members of political parties
I see,
and
I see, I see.
and
So,
office holders. In those, the Minister of Justice, Lamola, is a graduate of UP,
yeah,
member of the ANC. Now he is a cabinet minister.
exactly, exactly,
So the
exactly.
university, by providing human capital of various kinds, we directly or indirectly influence,
Contributes,
affect,
yes.
and contribute to the political discourse and development. Then some of our professors are commentators on political issues. Beyond Prof. Tembile, we find that many of us are often called upon when there are political issues to make a particular comment across the, and not just at UP, but across the institutions. And that's a vital role of universities, because universities produce knowledge which is meant to influence and shape society. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly that. Thank you, thank you for putting it that way. And then, because like my next question was to be of, and of which you've answered it in some way as you were answering the first question, was like, are there chances whereby like our political forums or political, systems, so to say, is there a point whereby they would invite universities to actually take part in certain like critical conversations, that will eventually lead to policy making and like so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Like I said, yeah, and I think you've answered it like to a certain extent.
Yeah. So like I said, many of us will formally or informally be invited
Yes,
to to advise politicians or to do a consultancy or a review, for example,
that's good.
to contribute to that to politics. So, for example, one of the things we do at the University of Pretoria is we host the national hub for the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. The national hub is at the University of Pretoria. So we help the government, for example, in writing. We write at the request of government their report on how far the country is going in terms of achieving the sustainable goals.
Yes,
And this report is delivered to the United Nations. We also host and that's deeply political because it's about ensuring things like gender equality, elimination of poverty, quality health, quality education is at the heart of policy making.
yes,
That that is hosted at the University of
yes.
Pretoria, and other universities also participate in that. Then second, we also recently, with the support of the German government and GIZ, the German Development Agency, we've created a facility which is coordinated by UP, where we are compiling a list of all academics across the 26 universities who are experts in particular areas that the government is a political, economic development agenda is directed at. They have 7 priorities. A capable state, for example, creating a strong, efficient civil service. So we at UP decided, well, government needs help here to know who are the experts so that when they craft any policies or implement them, it's evidence-based. So that facility is now running coordinated from here. And that's a very direct contribution
Yes,
because then
yeah.
it can enable, if government chooses, it will enable policy failures and failures of implementation or lack of knowledge. We come in as the knowledge part.
I agree 100%. Wow, 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 wow. Yeah, so there's no way we can detach academia from the influence that it has on, like you mentioned, directly or
Yeah.
indirectly, even if you are not invited in certain places, so to say. Either way, the people who are making these decisions are the products of academic
Yeah, yes,
institutions. Yeah.
yeah.
No, definitely, sir. Thank you so much for that
Yeah.
answer.
So,
So
I mean,
this,
earlier
yeah,
this week, I
yes, sir.
spoke at the Public Service Association's webinar. I was one of the
Oh,
keynote
I
speakers.
think I saw it on your LinkedIn,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
advert.
So that's an example of us being invited to participate directly in things that the government here. And I can assure you, without people don't want to announce these things, various political parties will sound out academics around how they understand the situation, and then help them craft.
That's very
Yeah.
true. That's very true. That's very
Yeah.
true. That's very true. Thank you so much for that. So the second question that I have for you, in my opinion, I wouldn't say it's sensitive, but it's tricky. It's not an easy one to work around. It's this thing around free education. So what I want to understand from your side, sir, is that one, do you support free education? If yes, do you believe that there are economically viable ways to actually implement, the free education structures, so to say?
Yeah. So I think the notion of using the word free often is a misnomer.
Sure.
It can't be free because someone has to pay.
Somebody's paying somewhere. Yeah, it can be free for me, but not somebody's paying.
So I think that the word free education or the phrase free education is misleading, because if it's free to the one who gets the education, who is going to provide the funding for the person who's getting it for free to be educated? Because university has costs.
Yeah,
We have costs
to facilitate the entire process of the learning, you need the cost.
Yeah. Pay the lecturers, pay the professional and administrative and service staff, including cleaners, security people, and all of that. We also have costs to maintain the lecture rooms, build new lecture rooms, buy books and journals for the library. Somebody has to provide that.
True.
So perhaps the question is not free. The question perhaps might be, should people go to university without having to pay? I think we have to be careful about that, given that somebody has to pay. Because if there are public universities, we're saying the government should provide the funding.
Yes.
And people should then go to university for free, if you like. But given that there are so many competing, education is very important. So it requires the government to come to the party with large forms of funding. But we must be careful there that then we must then say that taxes that people pay, the general public, those who pay taxes, must pay more for, because we fund education, our policies that education is free. So then we have to assess what are the, is there a large enough tax base? Are people are you going to realize that taxation base to give a quality education? Because it can't just be you go to free education, but it's not a quality education. Then there's a problem, because you are being shortchanged, and that will not take you to good employment. So I would say yes to free education on the basis of a very careful, sustainable solution of who's going to fund and how they are going to fund. It has to be sustainable. It can't be you give free education for 2-3 years, then you close it down and say we don't have the money. And it must actually be the funding that is provided for free education to happen must sustain high quality education.
Yes.
Not just go. I mean, the lecturers are not working. They need the money. So that is why one has to be very careful what they do. And remember that also, if you say education is free, you are likely to subsidize people who can pay. You really want people who can pay to go to university for free when university is not for everybody. Remember that also university is not for everybody.
True.
Only if you look, So do you want to, because you are now saying you're going to provide something for free for a certain group of people and not others. The question might arise, then why don't you have free primary and secondary education as well? Why university only? And because at primary and secondary, there are even more people.
Yeah. And it's also important. It's also important, very important as well.
Yes. Yeah. So the question, I think, if devoid of just being too narrowly politicized, it is a political question. But you don't narrowly prioritize it and you think through the whole spectrum, then you would have to actually say that following conditions must accompany what one calls free education.
I agree.
And also, perhaps you might have to change the word free, knowing that somebody has to pay. They might be free to the person who accesses it, but it's not free.
Because I
Not
remember
free.
I used to head one of the one of the institutions. It's like it's an NPO institution, for training youth on how to become software engineers. And then it was so we were calling our program tuition free, not
Yeah.
that it's a so because we wanted to be very deliberate, like very like we're very deliberate about it, so that people can know that it's tuition free, meaning that the student does not pay. Somebody is paying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I
I,
think it's
I
very
did
cool.
my PhD in a country with free education. That was Norway. But it's a
Yes.
very rich country. It's a very rich country. They could afford it. But it was just tuition free, like you said. For raise, you had to pay. And you got a government loan to pay for your raise and your living expenses. And you had to pay back when you started working. So it actually was not free
Yeah,
in
it's
that
not free.
sense.
It's not free at all. Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
understand.
So
I
we
understand.
have to think through what we actually mean. What is behind the call, though, the demand, is something that is important, which I support, is that we must enable people to access higher education, and particularly people who do not have the means to pay. Because
Yes,
the poor people must, who qualify to go to university must not be prevented from going to university
because they don't have money. Yeah.
because because of it's not free. It has to be. So that is why the current NEFSAS is a sort of a partial solution to it. It doesn't cover everybody, but it covers quite a lot of people. Some people might say 350 is a too low a base, and that perhaps in our society it should be 500,000 or even 700,000
Exactly. Yeah.
family.
Because
So so
I myself as well, sir,
so
I
access
also
is an issue.
went to University of Pretoria using NSFAS as well. So yes, in the first few years, I was using like a bursary that I could not have in later years, but as a
Yeah.
result, it was because of that that national funding scheme.
Yeah. So yeah. So I think it's something that requires very careful thinking through, because
I
in
agree.
some countries where they actually declared free education, and then they were not able to sustain it from government funding, the quality went down, and that had an implication also. If you have a low quality education, there is impact economically and in other ways.
Agreed.
You do
Agreed.
not have can't develop, you don't have the skills to develop your economy the way you should.
I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree. And then, just before we run out of time, one of the questions that I wanted to find out from your side, sir, is are there any other initiatives, programs that the university maybe is facilitating to advance communities? Maybe you go the villages, there are townships and whatnot. Are there initiatives like such?
Yeah, so multiple. So UP prides itself in its community engagement program. So we say that we have three core activities at the University of
Yes.
Pretoria: teaching, learning, and then research. Teaching and learning, sorry, research and community engagement. 33,000 of UP students of the 55,000 are engaged in one form of community service or another. Sometimes it's part of the course or part of the degree, and sometimes it's volunteer activities. And remember, second, we also have our Mamelodi campus, where
Yes.
from our Mamelodi campus is for extended curriculum students and others, but we also run a pre-university academy from there, and we
Wow.
also provide other community services.
Wow.
At the Maya Jamaison Library, we allow a number of our partner schools from Mamelodi for the kids to come and use the library. We also run veterinary services for the township, so people can bring their dogs, their cats, and their pets for treatment at our Mamelodi campus.
Wow.
This is also to create a better life for the community.
Mm.
And also we partner with 20 schools there to improve
Is this
to
like high
improve
schools?
high schools. to improve also the quality of education there. Then, of course, I mean, there's a lot of student societies and others that are engaged in particular. So we have Tulip, for example, which is a medical students grouping. You know what they do? They go to Lodium and Mamelodi, and they help schools they help students in high schools to study and prepare for matric. They also help them to apply to university. So then, because of COVID now, we've had a lot of engagement with communities. And also we've included COVID-related teaching in our primary healthcare programs. So our COVID interventions at UP are not limited to the urban areas. They are also extended to community areas. Yes. So if you like, UP is very much community-centered and sees the importance of using knowledge from its teaching and research to impacting and changing the quality of life for the better, for especially marginalized, historically disadvantaged communities, or communities where people are not, are not better off, wealthy, and live in suburbs and gated communities and estates. So we see very much our role as not just political and economic, but also as a community engagement for enhancement and for improving the quality.
No, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. So it does show that like the university is hands-on in ensuring that like our communities are well positioned to actually advance themselves in various things, which is quite a beautiful.
Because I think we see ourselves as a change agent in society. Change for the better and improving lives. That's what knowledge is for. It's not just for ourselves.
Yeah, no, 100%. So, like with I'm sure like both you and I can agree on the alarming statistics of unemployment that we have, particularly in South Africa, because I've not really looked much in other parts of the world, and also in Africa, like as a whole, actually. So there's a problem for unemployment. So because of the stats that I understand quite well are the South African ones. So what is it that like academia is doing about such things? Like, are there any interventions that maybe might possibly take place?
Yeah, absolutely. Because we live in as you say, South Africa and also the rest of the continent. Youth unemployment is very high, but we are also a continent we're also a young continent. I think 60% of the population is under 35. So, and it's a growing population as well. So at the University of Pretoria, there are at least 2 to 3 interventions we are making. The first one is that we now offer a free online course for entrepreneurship, which any student can take. So we no longer believe that simply a student is going to complete with a degree and go and be employed. We believe that a student could complete a degree, but also through entrepreneurial activities, start their own business and actually become an employer. So there's a free entrepreneurship online course running as we speak. But also for the students who are going to work, we don't believe simply that we choose to go to work. That's simply because you have a degree and it will be a good degree from the University of Pretoria, as you know, that you will necessarily get a job. We also run another course, a free course called Ready for Work, where we also use people from industry and others as mentors. So you get your degree, but you also do this Ready for Work because it will enable you to compete for jobs. So 93% of the UP students are either studying or working 6 months after graduation. So that's the primary thing, is that we have get a good degree is what we make sure you do, which is in a degree that is relevant, where the curriculum is modern and all of that. Then second, do our Ready for Work program, and third, do the entrepreneurship course. This is our attempt to contribute to reducing youth unemployment. So if one of our graduates, for example, becomes an entrepreneur, they themselves are employed, but they're going to employ others.
Yes.
So they will also contribute to unemployment reduction or creating employment. But we're also running very specific programs now with various agencies. So we're working with UNICEF, the UN agency, on a youth entrepreneurship program. We're also going to be working with UNDP, United Nations Development Program, and others on again another youth entrepreneurship program. And also we also have our own tax innovation, where our graduates can can do startups, tech startups, and then we link them with venture capitalists so that they can, from their technology, from their innovation, they can then launch them as a startup company and scale them up. And some of them have been quite successful. So at UP, we're very, very conscious of that ticking time bomb called youth unemployment. But also that youth is a period of growth and development and should not be wasted without being supported in terms of people developing and becoming and creating a means of livelihood for themselves.
True. No, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. And it's quite a relief knowing that like the university is actually having such initiatives, especially the two ones that you mentioned, the free courses that you mentioned. This is for the general public. Is there any qualifying criteria for those free courses?
For
the free courses you mentioned.
Yeah, so largely those are centered around our students, but for the youth entrepreneurship we're going to do with UNICEF and UNDP, those will be extended to
the public,
youth who have, say, for example, completed high school, or to unemployed graduates and people like that.
I think that will be key. I think that will move the needle. I think that I believe that will actually have like a huge impact for kids who are just coming straight from high school and they want an opportunity like that. I think that would be great. And you're saying that is something that's still on a pipeline, right?
Yeah. So yeah, the programs are being developed right now, but our youth entrepreneurship free course is running. It's been running for a couple of years now.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for that. So in closing, like I know we like to ask people this question, Professor. Like when I see a person who is as brilliant as yourself, who has like insurmountable amount of experience like yourself, like working with organizations, working with corporates, working in different industries, so to say, why would you choose academia as a place where you want to deploy your skills? Why did you choose academia?
Because it affects almost everybody.
Yes.
Giving people an education has a huge impact. And because people have to pass through some educational institution, and for higher end jobs, it's a university. So every graduate you train is an impact beyond yourself. It's a bridge from high school to the world of work. So I'm right there in between.
Yes.
Every year graduating people endlessly, timeless.
Yes.
So it's a huge impact at the university.
I see. So for you,
is the foundation of everything. Education is the foundation of everything. To develop your society, you need an educated and skilled workforce or human capital. and this is where I am. So it gives me pleasure that I can be.
I understand. Like, no, it's quite a beautiful thing to know that you chose to be in this space because of you have realized that the multiplicity of the impact that it can actually make. Because imagine if like I come from University of Pretoria, if it happens that I happen to run a business that can hire, I don't know, thousands of people. So you can see that like the multiplicity of such an impact like is quite huge. Like it's actually almost impossible to measure the impact that you have like in society. It's just too huge. It's humongous because of you cannot trace it to the last person that is being impacted. Because of the people that you get out of university, they do things that impact others, those they impact other people, so on and so forth. So like I say, like the scale there or thereof is something that we cannot necessarily quantify, so to say.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Education is foundational, it's transformative, and also it's impactful.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe in closing, what is like, what would you say is your wish or your or your hope about like Africa as a whole, like from an academic standpoint, and then
Yeah, no, I
also
think that the continent will rise and prosper. So we need to invest a lot in transformative education and in research, in what we call transdisciplinary research at the
yes,
University
sir.
of Pretoria. It's research that matters. That is our slogan anyway at the University of Pretoria. Or research that matters to solving the complex and complicated problems we know, which is
Mm,
improving the political system, as enabling sustainable economic development, protecting the environment and sustainability in general, then addressing the things we spoke about earlier, youth unemployment, gender inequality and gender-based violence and femicide. All of those things, we have the knowledge means to be able to resolve all of this. Then using
yes,
technological innovation to take us to the next level and bring us into the
true,
21st
true,
century. You have
true.
seen during COVID that we all had to rely on technology, but some
Hmm.
did not have that technology
Yeah,
like the one we're using now. So we need now to be investing in technological innovation and
true. I agree.
acquisition, adoption, and adoption and adaptation to our circumstances. And then we will achieve what the Continental's development blueprint called the Africa we want. It's peaceful, secure, democratic, prosperous, uh, sustainable, and where everybody enjoys
Definitely,
large
definitely.
degrees of equality.
No, thank you so much, sir. Because
You're
I feel
welcome.
like I know like I booked you for until quarter to 11,
Yeah,
of which I really
yeah,
appreciate. Like I appreciate your time so much. For me, like it
yeah,
strikes me as a like as an act of humility, to be honest with you, for a person of your stature to accept like a meeting like this, with a person like myself.
yeah,
So thank you so much, and continue rising, and continue like building like like our leaders, and then producing like the best talent that will actually contribute the best way possible to the like to our economic and political discourse, so to say.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah, have a good day and have a good weekend.
I appreciate it so much, sir. Cheers. Bye
Bye.
bye.